What's going on, everyone? So, De'Aaron Fox, now with a full max contract, talked about how kind of feels like it's inevitable that a trade is going to have to be done at some point. You're going to have Victor Wembanyama next season. He's going to be in the same spot as De'Aaron Fox is right now, so he's going to get the max extension. You have to figure out what are you going to do with Jeremy Sohan. So you're going to need to evaluate him this year and kind of see, okay, are you paying him? If so, how much? Are you keeping him around? If so, how much? Right? Like you have guys like Carter Bryant who could really step up and emerge, and he's shown the defensive versatility. But, if he's looking better offensively, maybe he's the guy and you're just, hey, let's move off of Jeremy Sohan, right? Like, or what if you go and something ends up happening and it's like, hey, let's move Wemby to the 4 and, whatever, Luke Cornett's just killing it for us in all the minutes that he's playing. Or, maybe, Mitch Johnson experiments a little bit and puts those two on the court together. It's just fantastic, right? Like, it's like, hey, we need more of that. Like, you don't know what's going to happen until the season actually progresses, and you can kind of evaluate things from a coaching perspective, right? So, and this is why, like I've talked about, I don't necessarily think the Spurs are going to make a big trade or a big splash or anything like that necessarily this season, right? Like, they're not in a position yet to where they're going to have to really, like, hey, we're going to have to figure some stuff out here. I do think Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, I do think those guys are kind of more likely than not the odd men out, just because their contracts, as well as, Devin Vassell, he's making $27 million a year on average. He does have that 1 year that's like randomly $24 million, but for the most part, it's $27 million a year. But you can't have that. And then on top of that, you're going to have like 3 max players at one point, plus like Keldon Johnson salary, plus whatever you're going to pay Jeremy. So like, there's going to be tough choices and decisions that need to be made. But I really do think it is in the Spurs' best interest to wait till next offseason. Obviously, again, if that opportunistic trade presents itself, if that moment comes and it's like, hey, we can go do this move, right? Then you go and do that move, of course, right? Whatever that is, whether it's a star or, it's just kind of like a mid-tier guy that makes some sense, or maybe just a young guy that you like that you think you could take a flyer on, whatever. There's options in that regard. But if you're the Spurs, with the new CBA, right, it's made things very complicated. Right? Because teams before, like if this was pre-CBA, there wouldn't be the general buzz going around of like, oh, Spurs made a mistake with De'Aaron Fox, right? Like, I think we can all agree on that. Whether you're somebody that thinks that he got overpaid or was fair pay or whatever, right? The new CBA changed the way that contracts are handed out. If this was pre-CBA, De'Aaron Fox getting his max contract, no one would have cared because everyone would just be like, hey, so what? The Spurs are going to get into the tax. Who cares? Right? Like, as long as the Spurs are willing to pay for it and win a championship and keep all these pieces, fine. I mean, you can pay everybody, right? Like, as long as the owner's willing to have deep pockets, we're good, right? But now with the new CBA, it doesn't matter how deep a pocket you have. It doesn't matter how much you're willing to pay and pony up. The new caps make things very restrictive. And if you don't have that true championship contender, that perennial contender, where every year you're winning champion, you're winning, you're having like a dynasty type of thing, then you could run the risk of getting stuck. My concerns with the De'Aaron Fox signing isn't right now or even necessarily next season. It's towards the end of the contract. And he's making, $55 million a year. You might not be able to trade him if you need to. Right? So it's those kind of decisions and those kind of mistakes. Now, I understand that, again, they kind of wanted to hold up their obligation. They wanted to do right by De'Aaron Fox. And I get it. I think the Spurs had to sign De'Aaron Fox to that max. I do. I think that was, they had to. If De'Aaron Fox was willing to work with them, that would have been great. But I think, if De'Aaron Fox is it, I don't think you can just let him go, right? You want to see it. There's the curiosity of like, how does this look? How does this work on top of, like Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle stuff look great, but they're unproven, right? Like Stephon Castle last year won Rookie of the Year, right? But we've seen Rookie of the Years and completely fizzle out and become irrelevant or out of the league in a couple. Michael Carter-Williams is a great example, right? Dude was averaging nearly a triple-double as a rookie. One Rookie of the Year was looked at as like, oh, this is going to be the next great point guard in the league. Guess what? He was out of the league by his next contract, right? Like, so again, we've seen those scenarios. Dylan Harper, right? Like Dylan Harper, I think has potential to be amazing, right? I think he will end up being better than De'Aaron Fox, but right now he isn't. Right? And the likelihood of Dylan Harper being as good as De'Aaron Fox, an all-star point guard in this league, is very slim. Very slim. Right? So, again, I think that they had to do that. But then it's like, now, okay, so you're keeping Castle, you're keeping Harper, now what? Okay, well, what about Devin Vassell? What about Keldon Johnson? Like, what if Devin Vassell's balling out and looking great? I think that the Spurs need to kind of use this season as their way to kind of operate and evaluate. Like, what if Devin Vassell just really buys into this, like, you know, like third man role, and he's giving you like 18 a night, and he's shooting, you know, 38% from three-point range, like nothing crazy, right? But just like 38.5% from three-point range, playing defense. And it's like, man, him, you know, what if like him and De'Aaron Fox are just amazing together, right? Like, now all of a sudden you might be thinking, like, wait a minute, so now what? Right? Are we really going to trade Devin Vassell when we got him, you know, cheaper than what we would have to pay Stephon Castle in a year? Right? So do we maybe look to trade Stephon Castle now? Maybe we get more value, right? Like, I'm not saying that will happen or that will be the case, but you don't know until you get out there. Like Devin Vassell had a bad season last year, and I was very disappointed. I've talked about it very heavily, but you know, context is important, right? He's coming off of injuries. Right now, you go and get De'Aaron Fox shortly after he comes back, so he's like trying to fit. And now he's going to have full health. He's going to get a full offseason, a full training camp, get to play alongside De'Aaron Fox, get to buy into the role, play the role, right? And like Devin Vassell, I don't think is a number one or number two option. I don't, right? Talked about it even last year. I don't think he's a top two option on a real contending team. I think he's a quote better as like a third option, right? A guy who on any given night could be the one or the two guy, but really most nights better suited as like your third guy, right? And now he'll get to be that. What if he's just that good? Right? What if he's really good? He just buys in that role, plays that role nicely. Now what? Right? Like, so again, like there's a lot of things that could happen. Again, Jeremy Sohan, what do you do with him? Right? What if you don't see significant growth and improvement? Right? What if, you know, and now you're like, well, we have Carter Bryant. He's younger, right? Or roughly the same, not that much younger, but he's still younger, right? He's younger. He's better offensively already, right? Has the defensive versatility, has the athleticism, has a lot of things. Like, let's look to trade him, right? Like, so I think the Spurs are kind of like, this season, I think is going to be the evaluation year. I think this year, if you're the Spurs, you got to kind of look at the landscape of your team, right? And then start making the appropriate decisions in the offseason. Now, again, if that opportunistic trade comes along, or there's a move or something that you can do at the trade deadline, or, you know, before a training camp or whatever, then yeah, take that move. But until then, I think you stay patient. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.